She tried to take my son's camera. She lied to the police. She grabbed his arm. She was the president of the HoA. She thought no one would stop her. She was wrong. It started with something small, just a school project. My son, Jaime, was 15 and had recently become obsessed with filmmaking. For his birthday, I saved up and bought him a decent camera, not the kind professionals use, but enough to feed his growing passion. His media arts class had assigned a neighborhood documentation project. Capture the spirit of your community through film. Jaime was thrilled. We live in Oakwood Estates, a quiet suburban place with neatly trimmed lawns, pastel homes, and an HoA that polices everything from mailbox styles to garage paint. The president of our HoA was Deborah Winters. Everyone called her Karen behind her back, and not without reason. Deborah had been ruling the neighborhood like a dictator for years. She fined kids for sidewalk chalk. She reported trash cans left out a few minutes too long. Her reign was one of silent power, masked by fake smiles and threats disguised as suggestions. Jaime had spent a week filming. Flowers blooming along paths, sunset reflections on windows, slow-motion ducks waddling near the pond. He stuck to public sidewalks. I made sure he understood the law, and he followed it. That's why I was confused when he came home early on a Tuesday, his face pale. "She yelled at me," he said quietly. "Who?" I asked. "Mrs. Winters. She said I couldn't film." He had been capturing a row of cherry trees along the community path when Deborah stormed up. She told him he needed HoA permission to film. When he politely explained it was for school and that he was on public property, she became hostile. "She said everything here is private," Jaime explained. "I had read the HoA bylaws. There was no rule about filming from public sidewalks. This wasn't about community protection. It was about power." That evening I called Deborah to clear it up. She used her usual condescending tone. "The board is concerned about privacy," she said. "There's nothing in the bylaws," I replied. "We have discretionary authority." I kept my calm but made it clear. Jaime would continue filming. He'd stay on public paths and obey all actual laws. The next morning we found a bright orange notice taped to our door. Unauthorized surveillance activities. A $50 fine for each violation. I laughed. Then I filed it away, just in case. Over the next few days, Deborah shadowed Jaime. She was everywhere, walking her dog near him, talking loudly into her phone during his shots, watching from across the street. Then it escalated. Jaime was filming the sunset from Maple Drive, a time-lapse of golden light across house windows. He was on the sidewalk. His camera was pointed at rooftops. Deborah burst out of her house. "Young man, I've told you to stop this unauthorized filming." Jaime's voice is on the footage. "I'm on the public sidewalk, Mrs. Winters." She marched up to him. "Turn that camera off or I'm calling the police." He started packing his things. Then she grabbed for the camera. "You've been recording illegally. I'm confiscating this." Jaime pulled away. "Please don't touch my property." She grabbed his arm. It wasn't a hard grab, but it was real, inappropriate. My son yanked free and ran home. He showed me the footage. I watched her face, her tone, the way she reached for him. Something broke in me. I called the police. The non-emergency line. We brought in the footage. Officer Rodriguez watched silently. When the video ended, he looked up. "She grabbed him?" he asked. I nodded. "She tried to take his camera?" "Yes." "She's wrong about the law. He's fully within his rights." He said they'd talk to her. The next morning, 2 cruisers parked outside Deborah's house. She stood on her lawn arguing with the officers. Her arms flailed, her finger pointed to our home. Curtains twitched as neighbors watched. Later, Officer Rodriguez called. "She claimed your son was invading privacy, but after we showed the footage and spoke to a few neighbors, the story fell apart." I thought it was over. It wasn't. 2 days later, Jaime was filming a cardinal in the community garden. He was using a zoom lens from the public path. Deborah saw him from her window. She came out mid-phone call, yelling, "He's back! He's harassing people! He's stalking us!" Jaime froze. I was pulling up from a grocery run. I saw her shouting and grabbed my phone. I approached slowly and recorded. "She's lying," I said calmly. "Jaime is filming a bird. He's on public property." Deborah turned and shouted at me. "You're both trespassing. You're threatening me." Her voice was shrill, but she didn't realize something. The police dispatcher was still on the line. Everything was being recorded. And she didn't see Mrs. Chen, the 80-year-old garden club president, watching from the shed. The police arrived quickly. This time, they didn't just talk. They reviewed footage, spoke with witnesses, and took her aside. I couldn't hear everything, but I caught words like harassment, false report, pattern of behavior. Then came the shock. She was escorted into the cruiser. No cuffs, but not by choice. Officer Rodriguez explained later that she'd be charged with filing a false police report, harassment of a minor, attempted theft. He said the district attorney was taking it seriously because of the repeated nature and the clear video evidence. 2 weeks later, we went to court. Deborah wore pearls and smugness. She pled not guilty. The judge wasn't impressed. He issued a no-contact order, 100 feet from Jaime at all times. At sentencing a month later, the hammer fell. 40 hours of community service, a $1,500 fine, 6 months probation. The judge made it clear, abusing authority, harassing minors, and lying to police had consequences. Deborah's face crumpled like a paper bag. Her power vanished. The emergency HoA meeting that followed was a formality. Unanimous vote. She was out. She stormed from the building, muttering about ingrates and ungrateful children. Jaime filmed her departure, from a public sidewalk, of course. Moral of the story: when power is used to intimidate, it must be challenged. When lies are repeated, they must be recorded. When the truth is captured, justice has a chance.